In light of recent open letters from academia and the arts criticizing the UK's Supreme Court ruling on sex-based rights, it's possibly worth remembering that nobody sane believes that humans can change sex. Some argue that signatories of these sorts of letters are motivated by fear. Fear for their careers, of course, but also fear of their co-religionists, who include angry, narcissistic men who threaten and sometimes enact violence on non-believers. History is littered with the debris of irrational and harmful belief systems that once seemed unassailable. As Orwell said, some ideas are so stupid that only intellectuals believe them.
Why does she care so much about this is the real question. Like, this is the hill she's going to die on.
Social media, algorithm brain rot.
Nobody owes anyone the sacrifice of their morals values. Who cares if they got their start by working on movies based on your books? She has no authority to dictate their principles or feel entitled to them changing for her.
Get a f***ing hobby.
What is J.K. Rowling saying now? Good evening, everyone. In one of my last videos, I covered the problematic tweet of the infamous esteemed writer of the Harry Potter books. Because as long as we forgot, there was a recent UK court ruling that changed some sex-based laws. And from there, you got some people that were upset about it. And then you had other people being victorious over it, like J.K. Rowling herself. And to be honest, I don't think she is as acidic as other transphobic people, but in this video, I want to read a new tweet she dropped that was just up the goddamn walls, insane. Like, you can actually feel the old English style of writing in this. Some parts make sense, but other sections made you be like, what are you on about? Like, let me show you what I mean. So once again, guys, me personally, I barely understand any of this, politics stuff, right? But, with how big she is, I gotta cover this. As he said, in light of recent open letters from academia and the arts criticizing the UK Supreme Court ruling on sex-based rights, it's possibly worth remembering that nobody sane believes or has ever believed that humans can change sex or that binary sex is a material fact. So first paragraph, first sentence actually, it's already getting crazy. These letters do nothing but remind us of what we know only too well, that pretending to believe these things has become an elitist badge of virtue. My God. Also, J.K. Rowling, if there's one thing she has retained, is, her good verbiage. And, as a writer, you can sense it right here in what she's tweeting, in a way. I often wonder whether the signatories of such letters have to quieten their consciousness before publicly boosting a movement intent on removing women's and girls' rights, which bullies gay people and who admit openly they don't want opposite sex partners, and campaigns and campaigns for the continued sterilization of vulnerable and crippled kids. Jesus, do they feel any qualms at all while chanting the foundational lie of the religion? Trans women are women, trans men are men. Trans men are men? Duh. I have no idea. All I know for sure is that it's a complete waste of time telling a gender activist that their favorite slogan is self-contradictory nonsense, because because lies the whole point. They're not repeating it because it's true. They know full well it's not true, but because they believe they can make it true, sort of, if they force everyone else to agree. The foundational lie functions as both catechism and crucifix, the said form of words that abbreviates. Mike, bro, how fucking verbiage is beating the shit out of me. My God, what are these words? The vivid, the tenuous necessity of coming up with your own explanation of why you're one of the godly, and excess weapon which will defeat demonic facts and reason. My God, dude, and promote the advance of righteous pseudoscience and sophistry. Oh my God, bro. Okay, it's so fun as well, how fucking American people, right? Like American more like American right-wing people, right? They'll become, they'll make the points much more basic. With British people, right-wing, potentially, they're more like, they drag it out much longer, in my opinion. IMO, they make it sound more poetic. Still some bad stuff, but it's packaged more nicely, in my opinion. Some argue that signatories of these sorts of letters are motivated by fear for the careers, of course, but also fear of the co-religionists, who include angry, narcissistic men who threaten and sometimes enact violence on non-believers. Backstabbing colleagues ever ready to report wrong saying, the online shamers and doxers and rape threateners, and of course the influential zealots in upper echelons of liberal professions. Though we can quibble whether they're actually liberal at all, given the draconian what is words? Draconian authoritarianism to say it. That seems to have engulfed so many. Gender ideology could have given medieval Catholicism a run for its money when it comes to punishing heretics. So isn't it common sense to keep your head down and recite your Hail Mulvenis, whatever that means? But before we start feeling too sorry for any coward and feel for twites, whatever, who have on the sly, let's not forget what a high proportion of them have willingly snatched up pitchforks and torches to join the inquisitional purges. Call me lacking proper womanly sympathy, but I find the harm they've enabled and in some cases directly championed or funded, the hounding and shaming of vulnerable women, the forced loss of livelihoods, the unregulated medical experiments on minors tends to drive my tears at source. Okay, there's a section, call me controversial, but the minor part of the conversation, gender affirming surgery, that's the one I can agree on. But the rest of this is just, a bit too cuckoo, a bit too wacky, in my opinion. Cold losses are starting to stack up. I'm missing one part. History is littered with the debris of irrational and harmful belief systems that once seemed unassailable. As always said, some of these are so stupid that only intellectuals believe them. Gender ideology may have embedded itself to... Bro, how do you have the time to write all of this? I know you're living on the royalties of Harry Potter, but you could not force me to write something this long for something that I'm passionate about, even from my perspective, was been imposed top down and is supposedly unenlightened, but it's not invulnerable. Core losses are starting to stack up. The condensations, overreach, entitlement, and aggression of gender activists is eroding public support daily. Women are fighting back and winning significant victories. Sporting boys have miraculously awoken from the slumber and remember that males tend to be larger, stronger, and faster, and females. Okay, so far, controversial, right? The only two parts I agree with is the, having the minor parts, and also with kids and also the Olympic tournament shit. Those are two parts I can somewhat agree with. The rest of this, a bit too crazy. Like I said, there must be large parts of medical establishment are questioning cutting healthy breasts of teenage girls is really what are you saying? Teenage girls is really the best way to fix their mental health problems. Okay, one seemingly harmless little white lie. Trans women are women, trans men are men, uttered in most cases without any real thought at all, and virtuous are typing yes, rapists, pronouns are absolutely the hill I'll die on, rubbing shoulders with those who call for women to be hanged and decapitated for wanting all-female rape crisis centers. Mother of God, and furiously denying clear and mounting evidence of the greatest medical scandals in a century. I wonder if they ask themselves how they got here, how did I get here, and I wonder whether any of them will ever feel shame. Holy shit, dude. Okay, I should maybe pre-read that, because the entire, paperwork of a testimony, of a manifesto, that was crazy. I remember in my previous video, right, about J.K. Rowling, two people giving me shit, right, for not really saying much. And I'm not gonna say much, right? Because, this kind of stuff is out of my wheelhouse. I cover, internet drama, all that dumb autistic shit, right? The most I'll say, about all of this is that it's crazy, it's insane. The two parts, like I said before, the two parts I agree with, is the kids argument and the Olympic stuff, right? I agree somewhat with her, but aside from that, feel like all of this, shit, is it breaking? All of this, just felt like just nonsense dribble that you only understand if you're a follower of her. When her followers, they seem to agree with her from what I'm seeing. Also, that's 93k likes. I understood nothing from this, nothing. I understood the religious comparisons to Catholics back in the 1600s, but aside from that, holy shit. What was any of this? I read some crazy fucking replies under this, and then maybe if I have time, I'll go check out what people are saying on Reddit. Because if you want a good spectrum, people that would agree with her, are anti-trans, they'd be on Twitter, sorry, and people who disagree with her and really really hate her, they would be on Reddit. But let's see real quick, what they're saying on Twitter. I can't help but judge that the female twatites more harshly than the males. There is an exception that some males will jump on any misogynistic bandwagon rolling by. It's women who condemn and sacrifice other women that I just cannot understand or forgive. I wish I could push back and say no women would sell out other women in this way, but the evidence speaks for itself. I'm gonna say like she means, you know, like women who are also left-wing and support trans people. Those that eagerly sacrifice the rights and safety of fellow females for short-term individual gain can complain if those they betrayed have long memories. My God, what's it saying? So yeah, like, you know, I'm sorry if I'm saying nothing, but like, you know, like this is out of my wheelhouse. What the fuck can I say? These people need a Google Sissy King. What? These people need Google Sissy King? What are you on about? I understand how widespread it is. Many of these guys get off and making women comfortable. It's a form of rape. It's a form of rape. Shoot them. That's the worst of them. Live for it. Okay, sorry, what? The letter signers don't care about Sissy King, transvestic fetishism, or any paraphernalia lurking under the trans umbrella. Evidence that could undermine religious faith is dismissed as evil propaganda, too trivial to matter, or a figment of crazy people's imagination. Okay, you know, I don't want to make this video too biased. I mean, what am I? Okay, I'm biased against J.K. Rowling. There you go. That's my stance. But for now, you know, I want to see what people are saying on Reddit, because if that's what, you know, the average person on her side is saying on Twitter, then like, my God, it just sounds like, you know, actual insane shit, in my opinion. And it's funny as well, because I first found this on Reddit, on the r/4moy, and people here, I haven't like read it so far, but they might be more rational, in my opinion, potentially, what they're saying. I'm reading all that trans rights. Okay, you know, first thing I read, you know, was a shitty meme, whatever. Respect my trans homies, or I'm gonna identify as a fucking problem. I love this. Okay, you know, so far, these are some really shitty memes, in my opinion. Kim just say, now reading all of that, but she's awful, but this is just some of my thoughts, whatever. She's never really been able to write concisely, has she? I don't know. I mean, she did make a living, you know, by being a writer for Harry Potter. She wrote the fucking books, but you know, in the normal Twitter post, I have no idea what he's saying. Anyways, she's become such a pretentious and unbearable writer. LOL. I bet he keeps her up at night that the only books she'll be known for are silly children's books. That's a bit controversial, yeah. You know, what are you talking about? I feel like, you know, those books, they'll be remembered for quite a while because it's fucking Harry Potter. People love those books. I never read one, but you know, they're quite popular. I gotta stop it there, you know, because I don't like hate making these videos, but whenever, like, you know, I cover a topic like this, I barely say much, because once again, it's out of my wheelhouse. The most I'll say is, you know, this is crazy, a bit transphobic, but aside from that, you know, just typical J.K. Rowling shit, you know, just insane stuff. So, you know, if he makes, you know, another crazy statement like that one, I might grit my teeth and read it again, because, you know, stuff like this, it does blow up, you know, with a huge rhetoric, you know, for her and against her. Either way, it's a good topic to cover. But I'll see you guys in the next video, you know, if I cover it again, potentially, in the future.